Hello, I'm trying to talk about addictive behaviors. And something I've noticed with myself is that as I'm not eating sugar and also not eating fruit and also not eating bread products or anything with wheat, or I'm not eating dairy as well, I've noticed that when I have like a compulsion, like I want to eat sugar, I'll scratch my skin or something, which I think that compulsion has always been there. It's just much easier to see now that I'm not eating sugar. Okay, what am I trying to say? I think even if you struggled with like addictions your whole life, that there's still an underlying good person there. There are some people that have no moral standards for their life, and that's not great. It just kind of means that their life can go any which way and they're not directing the compass. I couldn't, for the most part, ever quite do that, and I always had to hold within myself that I had to be kind to other people no matter how I was feeling, because I didn't want to perpetuate cycles of harm and abuse in society. Even if I knew I was still harming myself, I didn't feel that that gave me an excuse to harm others. So I had to kind of suck up my own feelings no matter how I had treated me and be good to others. And that might not be the typical path, but it's the one I've taken. So that I was doing this made it so that I still had some pride and belief in who I was at the core. I just can't imagine how it would feel if you had no standards for how you behave. But I don't imagine most people who are addicted have no standards for how they behave. So I'm just saying, like, look at the core of you, like what's good about you and what standards you've had to try and help others or be altruistic or just make society or life better for yourself or other people, because I imagine there's still a person in there that wants to help, and you may feel shame, as I have felt, for all the times that you have hurt yourself. But I think part of why we're feeling that shame is because all of the times that we hurt ourselves, it makes it that much harder to I would say it kind of stops like a love cycle that could flow through us when we decide that we're not worth patience and love and we decide to do an addictive behavior. I'm not saying this is always like a clear-cut decision, and I'm not blaming addicts for their behavior. I'm just kind of relaying my own story. I feel like everyone deserves compassion no matter where they were at, as long as what they actually want to do is grow, because people who just want to hurt others or are not ready to look at themselves often cannot be helped. But you don't know who's who, so you have to just be as kind as possible. And people can change one day to the other. There's nothing that's really static. I think I'm trying to say there is value to you, even if most days like you have trouble seeing it. And the only thing that's enabled me to actually start to heal some of my addictive behaviors is love, is like surrendering and saying I needed help. Whether that starts for you by going to seek mental health treatment. But in my case, that was such a small part of the story, and I didn't know what the missing link was. Some part of me did, but I've tried to deny God on and off. And I'm not saying a God that condones prejudice or segregation. I don't think God is against anyone who's gay. I think it hurts God when we are unkind to each other. But standing up for yourself is also important. I've been trying to read the Bible, and it's been difficult because, well, sometimes I'll just space off, just like when I try to meditate. I kind of enjoyed the story at the beginning of Genesis, but I also saw that a lot of women have been shaming themselves because Eve picked the fruit off the tree of good and evil. Now, is there an actual tree of good and evil? So this is where my mind started to go like, this must be a metaphor. And of course, God did not mean for women to shame themselves forever because Eve picked a fruit. I just don't know what it really means yet. I have a vague idea. I think it has to do with like addiction and temptation more than it has to do with the actual fruit. I don't feel like I know enough about this to speak about it yet, but it'd be interesting to hear your interpretations, because I'm always like happy to learn more about what it means or have like an idea, a conversation. I like talking to people, especially about ideas. Mostly I just want to share, if like nothing else has worked, I had a friend who would continually tell me to pray. And one year I tried it when I was in like the worst pain. There's nothing else I could do. And so I prayed every night all summer, and it would clear all the bad energy out of my house because I felt like there was demonic energy in my house. And then I would wake up and I would feel depressed and bad all over again, and I'd pray at night and I'd get solace for that amount of time. And that I was praying and connected, and all I really did was like tell God about all my suffering. And I had no really idea of like who God was at this point. So my friend, she had said, pray to God even if you don't know who God is. Or even if you don't believe in God. You can still do it. Like, what could it hurt? And just like see if it works for you, because I didn't believe in God that year. I think I've always had a spark of God within me, but I was having some difficulty that year. I'm hoping this helps, but I'm also hoping that you turn to God, because I've been through the ringer and I've never found anything else that worked or helped to the degree that just believing something or someone cares about you does. That thing being God. All right, good luck out there.